Yeah, so my name is Jackie Eric. I'm head of organic growth at Realtor.com. And yeah, in this era of change, it's probably more important than ever for search professionals to communicate both risks and opportunities to leadership. And today, my esteemed panel will be sharing how they communicate with the C-suite to strengthen their overall organizations, or as I like to call it, money please. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pete to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Pete here. I'm with Signet Jewelers, brands like K Jewelers, Zales, Diamonds Direct. I mean, a whole bunch of, Jared, a bunch of different, very multi-brand company. One of the VPs there in the digital product management organization. So you've been, a lot of people have been concerned, we need to work with product. We need to work with product. I'm one of those guys. But hopefully, the nicer guys. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that, my team owns is the search or the customer acquisition strategy. And that's how I'm related to this topic.
I'm Krista Dalton. I am the SVP of Digital and CMO at TecovasBoots.com. While you're all in Austin, we do have a store here. You're welcome to go try them on. I have been at Tecovas for about a year and a half now, and then previous to that, I was at Overstock as their chief digital. That's a lie. That's my current title. That's true. I was their chief merchandising officer and customer officer. And previous to that, I was at Target. And my 3-year-old did drop a princess castle on my face. So I have a bruise that I just wanted to get out in front of.
Nice.
I'm Chris Long, VP of Marketing at GoFish Digital. First 6 years of my career were spent very much on the product side of SEO, everything from working from mid-sized businesses to enterprise sites, from content strategies to large architectural integrations. Past few years have shifted toward the more marketing side of the business. Now I do more marketing for the marketing agency, support with our editorial, thought leadership, sales and operations, and help manage the day-to-day operations of the agency.
All right, getting into it. We know that educating leadership is key when it comes to bridging the gap between SEOs and the C-suite. How do you help them understand your work and set expectations on what SEO is capable of? And I think we'll start with you, Krista.
Yeah, I love this question because C-suite, which I'm absolutely guilty of, think they know SEO because they're like, I Google. And when I Google our company's product, we're not number one, you're not good at your job. And helping them understand things like taxonomy and URLs and backlinking and all of that is so technical that in general I have found, I'm gonna just say this. There's also an arrogance to people in the C-suite and they don't wanna be like, I don't know what that means. And so helping explain it in a way that is understandable and approachable. I know that my old CTO, Joel Waite, sat me down and gave me a restaurant metaphor that basically boiled down to excellent customer experience. And what SEO should be rewarding is a great customer experience. And so everything about load time, content shift, all of those things came later. But the first and primary cultural thing that he really educated the whole C-suite on was making sure our customer experience is excellent. And so as much as I want to say, keep it simple, stupid, that KISS model from 7th grade science, really important for the C-suite.
I know you have some insights as well.
Yeah, so I think it's the opposite side of the house. We do borrow the KISS, but that's when everything begins with a kiss at K. So that's the KISS part of it. Nice. But again, I think we've been a little lucky. I think the C-suite that we had at Signet. So again, and I don't want to go into the long story, but 4.5 years old, digital organization. So Rebecca Wooters, who's our chief digital officer, very knowledgeable and very appreciative of the innovative technology. So, I mean, the digital side of the house, no problem, right? But the way we are structured, we have what we call as a banner partners or the business teams. It has been a journey, okay? But to educate them and to do that. But I think, one of the things that I found effective was to identify right partners within their organizations and people who were knowledgeable about the subject, right? And I was not the smartest bulb in the room. So it is about finding the smartest bulb in the room, in their organization, and then leveraging them as, your champions who can, effectively speak on your behalf and make the case about why the topic is important. So I think, you just have to show them in their own words the pain that they have to go through. And again, with all these pressure on the marketing budgets, it has been an easier task in terms of like, we all understand that organic has a low customer acquisition cost, so hey, you got to invest in that.
So we have simple and champions. Chris, I know you have an interesting perspective coming from external point of view.
Yeah, so I think the first question, right, is do CEOs, do they understand search better than maybe they did 10, 15 years ago? We have data to think that they do. Maybe it's the arrogant side, though, too, right? That's also can be a big portion. We did an unscientific LinkedIn poll where we just asked, hey, if you're VP and above, what's your familiarity with SEO? 74% of people said they were either moderate to advanced in terms of their understanding of SEO. So unscientific poll. We also looked at,
Arrogance.
Arrogance. That probably is arrogance.
Sorry.
We also looked at data that was like basically mentions of SEO in like publicly traded like SEC documents. That has significantly gone up in the past 10 years. So it feels like CEOs understand search better, or at least understand like the importance of search better than they did 10 years ago. How do you get to really think about the way they think about search, right, in order for you to educate them? I think, Jackie, you made a really good point when we were discussing before this, like, hey, pay attention to the all hands meetings and like pay attention to like what they're talking about and how they're framing search. And like you can even take it a step further, like you can actually go, it's called the Egger database, and that's where they store like SEC filed documents. So like the CEO like literally has to sign off on those documents like before they get filed. Sometimes it's the CFO, but like generally the C-suite has read it. What you can do is you can like analyze those documents and say like, how are they talking about search within those documents? And like, you'll be surprised. Oftentimes it's about like acquisition costs, content libraries, like that's how they're talking about it. So if you want to educate them, talk about it in the way that they do, right? Like use the same metric that they do. That's going to be really impactful for like how well you're able to get buy-in from the C-suite, because you'll be able to talk and think exactly like they do. Investment reports are also a really great way to look into. If your company files quarterly investment reports, you can use that as a proxy to understand what's important to the C-suite and how can you connect that back to search.
Interesting.
Yeah. Continuing kind of on that line, Chris, like how has that approach helped you secure more investment for organic search?
Yeah, so I think it boils down to my colleague Daniel Russell did a great talk, and he basically talked about the CEO's hierarchy of needs, and it's like safety. He basically framed it around like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So safety, don't need that. Psychological, don't need that. Self-esteem, CEO's kind of like that, so check there. And then finally at the top is profit, right? And that is one of the best ways to like communicate like SEO initiatives to the C-suite, right? Is like translating what you do into actual like profit metrics. That's a way you can get buy-in. How do you flow everything down to how it is helping them achieve profit, make more money, whether it's reducing their customer acquisition costs, whether it's a growth initiative, thinking about how it really impacts things at the bottom line, because that's what they're going to care about at the end of the day. So how can we take the work that we do, take a technical recommendation, and then shift it down into its actual revenue-driving initiative for them and a growth lever for the company?
Yeah, when I was actually at Wayfair, one of the things that I did was I discovered that each visit to the site was $1 in profit. And like once you kind of framed it that way, it was a lot easier to have those discussions. So totally hear you there. Following up on that, for Pete, when executives don't have as much experience or knowledge with technology, what approaches do you take?
Sure, I mean, but they understand dollars, right? And I think that's what Chris was alluding to as well. So, I mean, you got to show them the money, right? And understand that, in every company, irrespective of whichever domain you come from, there's always a finite capacity, there is always something, right? So you always have to prioritize. Executives, C-suite, or whoever it is, they're always looking to prioritize things, right? What's below the line, what's above the line, correct? So you got to show them the value, right? And how do you show them the value, right? It's by, of course, you got to be able to track it and measure it and communicate that. So one of the things that, again, what the approach that we took was we were very, very reactionary to this whole subject of search. Right? And I came from a banking background. Honestly, I did not have too much knowledge. But like I said, again, we started understanding. But when we realized that there were a lot of emphasis on improving the customer experience, and it was very important that the people that we need to bring people to our channels as well, right, to our .com sites, right? So as part of the broader customer acquisition strategy, it was very important that we continue to invest in this topic too. So, but we always taken a very test and learn approach, and we have invested a lot in making our sites faster, better. I like to call it making the ships lighter as well. So and then the same approach we took with Bodify as well. We started with very small banner, saw its success, used that success to garner more excitement, enthusiasm with the C-suite, and then we scaled it to second banner and so on and so forth. So we already scaled it to 4 banners right now and more to come.
So I'm hearing a little bit about kind of like the testing and learning into the...
Yeah, you test and learn, you show them the value, you show all the key KPIs that, hey, or what I like to call as the leading indicators, and then you show, the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah.
Krista, what are your thoughts?
I'm in violent agreement. I really like OKRs and aligning on KPIs ahead of time. I think somebody said earlier, you need to be able to boil it down to the impact. I really liked the challenge in the last presentation about pixels versus top 3, because explaining how many of our keywords are showing up as the #1 search term versus #2 versus #3. You can go down a rabbit hole really quickly, but if you set a key performance and then you also give them leading indicators as well as lagging indicators, lagging is the sales, right, from the channel. Leading indicators, traffic, ranking, everything like that. NPS, as they leave site, is actually typically an indicator that we use. Anything like that. If you have alignment ahead of time, you can make sure that on the back end, it also helps with the boiling down of the money to be made. I know, we're like a really profit-driven couch right now.
Yeah, it's like that, yeah.
That's what matters.
It's kind of our topic.
Yeah, kind of like following along on that same line, Krista, the metrics, we look at are often very technical, they're very specific and esoteric to just our channel, and also we don't have kind of that full funnel of data. So how do you translate that into more general business metrics that the org can get behind? I think you were kind of already alluding to that.
Yeah, there's 2 things that I've done that have been really helpful. There's a different way to speak up than down, right? And so when I'm speaking with my team who's in charge of SEO and talking to them about sitemaps and about, the work they do every day, that is a different conversation than I have with my CEO. My CEO wants to see, we have a dashboard that shows visitors on an SEO trend, like of organic traffic, where are they? What is the time on site for those customers, and what is their conversion? And so those 3 things combined get you to the end product of sales. And so what we did is we have that, and then I gave a plan. And so for me to get Bodify, sorry, this is such a strange topic. We just signed with them about 3 weeks ago. But I literally laid out for my CEO, here's my plan for SEO's percentage of total sales. Here's what it's going to do. Here's the profit bottom line. Worked with my CFO to put together a model and said, here's the cost. Here's the benefit. If we don't hit it, we won't up the contract again. Hey, Maxine.
No pressure. Chris, I know you have some insight on this as well.
Yeah, and I really like your points about tailoring things differently to different teams, right? Because that's what matters. And the truth is, CEOs don't care a lot about the metrics that a lot of SEO practitioners, they don't care about domain authority or backlinks. Most of our traditional KPIs are complete vanity to a CEO, honestly. Even some CEOs might consider organic traffic a vanity metric, which hurts, but is true. So it's how do you distill something really technical down? It's like here would be an example, right? It's like, hey, we need to get buy-in for whatever reason for Spotify's integration of index now. Like the traditional SEO way is like, well, it's gonna really improve our crawl budget. We're gonna have so much control over like what we push to Bing. And can't you see this is gonna be better for the overall crawl efficiency of the site? And like to the CEO,
No.
we look like Charlie from like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with like the map behind him where it's all lined up. It's like, that's what we look like, right? But instead, it's like, okay, we right now are like looking at the data. Right now we have 10% of our overall site is not getting indexed by Bing. We expect this to have a 10% lift in terms of indexation rates, knowing that our average AOV converts at this rate. This is how much revenue we're generating, and these are our margins. This is how much profit it's going to generate. What's a CEO more likely to respond to?
I mean,
Maybe the first one. Maybe the first one.
how do you help educate executives on the benefits of SEO, how it can provide like acquisition cost efficiency and benefit the overall acquisition strategy? So I'm going to start with you, Pete.
I think I may be repeating myself here, but again, to me, the same thing, right? And you got to show them the numbers, you got to show them the benefits. There's no other magic, silver bullet there, right? So you got to show them that. You have to be able to, like I said, you got to be able to define what you are measuring, correct? And which is again your leading and your lagging indicators, and you measure them consistently, and you communicate them often, and as soon as if you continue to do that, one fine day with a lot of prayer, hopefully they will get it. But that's exactly what it is about, honestly. So, but the other thing is, always if you're putting them, yourself into their shoes, you keep tying back to what are the broader organizational objectives, what are they trying to drive, and what the search really feeds into their broader goal. So once you tie all these things, I think it just makes the case a bit easier in terms of really bringing them along in the subject, is what I've experienced.
What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a community, we've been afraid to forecast for a long time, and I think it's hurting SEO's seat at the table. It's like we lean on, when asked to make a forecast or prove our ROI, we say, it depends. It's like, I don't control Google's algorithm, or what about seasonality? And like, then there's a major algorithm update. It depends, I can't make a forecast. But like, literally any other channel could do that. It's like, well, there's, if paid media is asked to make a forecast or traditional PR, it's like, well, there's inflation, and don't you know there's a war going on, and like all of these different things, and yet they still make the time to forecast, right? So it's like, I think, there's plenty of tools out there in order to be able to do that, right? Like Spotify has some. It's like, think about how you can make forecasts and actually show value. Like that's gonna help you get more investments, get ROI. I think a lot of people are afraid to make forecasts because it's like, I'm gonna be held to that number. And really what it is there's a communication tool for a CEO to make a decision or not, right? It doesn't have to be dead accurate. Give different ranges, right? Give an optimistic, a realistic, and then a conservative range. If you're afraid of being held into a certain type of certain type of like time frame, right? Or like metrics, do that. You're gonna help get more buy-in because you're not afraid to make a forecast, or other digital marketing channels aren't afraid to make forecasts either.
What are your thoughts, Krista?
Oh my gosh, obviously I have so many. It's true. The one thing I would say is that I love the forecasting challenge because I so rarely work with a partner who agrees to say, hey, this is our forecast for SEO. The piece that really frustrates me about SEO is when everyone calls it free traffic. We're at a conference about this topic. There is an entire industry of people whose job is to optimize search engine results. That is not free. The person on my team who's in charge of that is not free. The Spotify contract is not free.
Oh, I thought it was. No.
If it is, I need to talk to Maxime again. But it is important for me to, that was well timed, it is really important for me to think about as you're thinking about SEO and the consequences of it, that it is a demand moment. The person that's searching cowboy boots is in the business for it. If they're searching a Luke Bryant concert, they are closer down the funnel than you think. And so it's both an upper funnel awareness play. Coca-Cola is a name brand. They're always going to win. People search for them and know where they're heading. But we need to play the game well enough to be in the customer's mindset no matter where they are in the funnel. And SEO plays at every one of those levels.
Yeah, my joke about SEO is that I have traded variable spend for being in everyone's business. So moving on, it would not be 2024 if we didn't have an AI-related question. So let's talk about the C-suite and the AI revolution. How is the C-suite thinking about this technology? What questions are they asking you? And what expectations or concerns do they have? Chris.
First, I think your point leans perfectly into it, right? Because it's like SEO is not free, right? There is an inherent cost to run every single SEO program because there's direct overhead, and that's how the CEO is thinking about it. It's like there's overhead in terms of like salary, outsourcing, agency fees, right? Like it is not a free channel. So when like we're talking with CEOs about like the future of LLMs, it's like often thinking about, okay, how does AI impact the cost of those programs, right? Now, if we can scale out creating title tags or scale out product descriptions using AI, what does that do to our costs, right? And now all of a sudden we're having conversations not just about SEO and AI, but how we're reducing customer acquisition costs because all of a sudden our SEO program, we found savings in that, right? So that's a big portion is how is AI improving our workflows and reducing our overall costs. That can help you get buy-in. The other way is I think it's a good opportunity for SEOs to have larger discussions about overall brand, right? It's like right, with the future of AI, like it's going to be much harder. It's going to be much harder to kind of fake it. Like I just saw Will Reynolds speak back in Portland. I'll try to keep this brief, but he talked about the fact that like you search a query for like ethically sourced jeans, and like Banana Republic ranked #1 because they happen to make an SEO page about it, but really their brand doesn't reflect anything about ethically sourced jeans. Yeah. And he came up with like 5 other examples of like brands that actually do that, where they like buy back jeans and actually sell used jeans and like at the expense of their business. They don't rank for it on Google right now, but it's harder to fool an LLM because it's not based on domain authority and backlinks and all of that. So it's like to perform in the LLMs, right? Because we're trying to really achieve the goal of visibility. It's like we need to have a brand that reflects that, which is bigger than just SEO.
That's great. Krista, how are you anticipating the questions from the C-suite and addressing them proactively?
I am the communicator of AI to, I hit AI because my brain's there today, of SEO to the C-suite. And so it's my job to funnel and communicate a pretty complex issue to a group that includes the head of supply chain, the head of merchandising, the head of finance, the head of HR, and the head of legal. And all of them have a different understanding of what the capabilities are of SEO, of what it can accomplish. And so distilling it down into its key points and sharing, it is one of our most efficient channels. It is not going anywhere. I loved that point earlier about everybody's always saying, it's on a downtrend, and communicating it in a way that's really clear and consistent. I think you have said consistent 2 or 3 times in your answers, and as soon as you branch out into, well, now I'm looking at this, or here's something else cool for you to know, I kind of lose those 5 people whose expertise, again, is law, finance, HR, and I need all of them to be bought into what we're doing, especially my head of tech. I told a story earlier today. My head of tech, on our roadmap for 2028, said, I want to be the most innovative tech solution. And I made him take that out. And I said, I want us to have the most competent, consistent, reliable tech, but innovation isn't always rewarded with customer experience, and sometimes it's ahead of SEO. And so helping them all understand that what might be great in their area might not be great for this channel that really does matter to customer experience is my job to communicate to them in a very clear, concise way.
You should read the book on Steve Jobs. You put the customer first. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about you, P?
Again, I think from an AI perspective, I know we're almost running out of time here. But we're also dabbling it. We are not frozen. somebody said that, right? We're not frozen, but we're not hyper, like, again, we're not doing everything, we're not just panicking about it as well. We are taking our own time. We have been piloting a lot of these AI capabilities, Gen AI capabilities across our different product portfolios, across the customer journey, right? Be it from the very beginning, like from search, from upper funnel, all the way through, even the purchase cycle. So we have been looking into all these different capabilities. We've looked into AI for product description, the short description, the long description. We have seen efficiencies there. We have efficiencies around our product information management platform, conversational AI. So we've been doing a lot. But I have to tell you this, that we did look into some of these Gen AI capabilities into the search. Didn't find too much of optimistic evidences there that somebody's really coming to ChatGPT and saying, like, jewelry store near me. So we're just looking for some more data, some more evidences. So I think it's helpful to just understand how this is all evolving so that we can be better prepared. So, but yeah, we're definitely not leaving the subject behind.
Awesome. Yeah. So, like in conclusion, because we're now out of time.
He's looking at us.
Did you want to put our key takeaways up?
Sure. I mean, I think I'll let you sum it up.
Or
No, I think
I think they were going to put the key takeaways up.
This key takeaways. All right. I thought maybe
That's what you were trying to hand me. Okay, yeah. So yes, setting expectations is one of the key takeaways. Obviously, keeping it simple, being very clear and concise, speaking in terms of the business, proving the impact and the ROI, and then treating it as the investment that it is. It is not a free channel. It is a very efficient channel, but it is not free. So, thank you.
Thank you all.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thank you.